Joel Embiid. Why aren't free agents breaking down the door to team up with Joel Embiid? We'll talk about that more next on Locked On 76ers.
You are Locked On 76ers, your daily Philadelphia 76ers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thanks for making Locked On 76ers your first listen every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook, official sportsbook on Locked On. Make every moment more. Right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed. Visit FanDuel.com Locked On to get started. What's up, Jay Mitch? How you doing, bro?
What's up, Keith, man? I'm doing well, man. How are you?
Oh, I can't complain. For you guys, my name is Keith Pompey. I'm one of the co-hosts of Locked On 76ers with my man John Mitchell in the building. 76ers, former 76ers beat writer extraordinaire, long time, well-respected beat writer in the NBA. So, Mitch, we got a lot to talk about today. And the first thing we're going to talk about is Joel Embiid. Now, Joel is one of the greatest players in the league, right? He's going to go down. I think Joel is going to go down he's going to be a Hall of Famer. Let's face it. Joel's going to be a Hall of Famer, right? He's arguably, right now, you can argue this, that he's the most unstoppable player in the league when he wants to come out and play, right? However, you don't really see a lot of people knocking down the door saying they want to team up with Joel. So we'll discuss that, right? In the second segment, we'll also talk about other things. We're going to talk about now how the NBA is implementing this thing where all stars have to play in these games, right? At least one of the stars have to play in the game. And then for national TV games, they want both of them to play in the game. Like if you have two star players, meaning Joel Embiid, if James Harden's here, they got to play on these national TV games. And then we'll discuss some other things, right? You're saying good. Let's get it
good.
Out.
Absolutely. Let the people see what they paid for.
So first off, let's get it started, Mitch. Let's talk about this. Joel Embiid, bad dude, unstoppable dude. But you don't see these all-star type caliber players knocking down the door to play with Joel. Your opinion of that, and why do you think that is?
Yeah, I mean, when you know as well as I do, Keith, that so much of what the NBA superstar is into is they want to play where they want to play, despite being able to travel and making exorbitant amounts of money and being able to go wherever they want to. There is this peculiarity where they want to be in certain cities. But in Philadelphia has never been that city where you have your Los Angeles and you have your Miami. And I think those appear to be the two real destination cities, the warm weather cities. And, but Philadelphia doesn't seem to be the city that pulls free agents. But I also think part of it is as a player, Joel is, I've heard it talked about and ruminated that Joel is difficult to play with. And I think part of that is because the league is now, it's not a center dominated league, and it hasn't been so really since I think Shaquille O'Neal was the last dominant center. The game has moved away from the paint and it's just moved out to the perimeter. But I would think that a player like Joel still would be a magnet for a guy like Dame. We look at Dame. And, it's just like, wow, here's a guy, they could space the floor with him and they could be a threat. And for some reason, Joel has just not, he's like you say, he's a Hall of Famer. He's going to the Hall of Fame, and he's the kind of player that you can win a championship with. Maybe he's not the alpha personality-wise that we thought he was, but if you have him comfortable in playing his game, which he does most of the time, for the full 82 games of the regular season when he's healthy, he does that. But when he's, when the playoffs get here, it's a different Joel Embiid. We still haven't seen the dominant play from him beyond the first round. But and I don't understand NBA players' mentality. You have a chance, the ring should be the thing. And I think another superstar should look at the 76ers and say, I can win a ring with this guy. So let me bring my talents. But it's become a peculiar league in that sense.
Yeah, I think it's two reasons when you look at it. Number one, the one thing is I think that a lot of guys, you said the ring should be the thing, right? But when we really talk about it, the ring really isn't the thing until guys get older.
Yeah.
Like Connor,
Yeah.
I think that a lot of guys are looking at stats, and you said it. Right now Joel is a center. This is starting to become a center league again, but for the most part, for a while, it was a guards league, right? A guard-driven league. And you look at people, and they look at Joel. Joel's going to get the bulk of the shots. He's going to do this, whereas you're going to come here and you're going to stand around. You're basically going to stand around. And when you look at it, this is a league where a lot of players, they want to get stats. They want to score. They want to be the man. Because why? Let's face it. Being a man more so than winning games gets you money, right? It makes you become an all-star. You become an all-NBA player, and then you get the money. So you look at Joel, and Joel's, like, some people may say he's hogging the ball, or you're just running the offense through him. And then you stand around, and then you become like a Tobias Harris type. And what I mean by that is a guy who was with the Clippers, who you were scoring a lot of points. You were doing all the things you would like that warranted you to get the 180. And then you come here, and now people are asking the questions, why did he get the 180? So you have a lot of guys who don't want that. Some people may feel like they wonder, like, does Joel throw his teammates under the bus too? You think about it, like after he and James Harden struggled mightily in Game 7, there was a comment that said we can't do it all by ourselves. And people are like, what do you mean we can't do it all by
yourself? You got two Hall of Famers. What more do you need?
Well, not only that, it was like, were we getting opportunities to do it? So I feel like from a standpoint of, you look at it, guys would rather be the man because that's about their legacy. And then when they later on, they want to come back and play and win a championship and say, okay, I'll do it then. But then also it's kind of like, well, we don't know what type of teammate he is. You know what I mean? So those are two things that I feel like a lot of players are a little bit leery of. And then also, let's face it, some people don't want to come to Philly. As much as we talk about it, and you mentioned it, places like Miami, places like New York Knicks, where they love the team. If you had a chance in Brooklyn, I don't even know about Brooklyn. Because
those mega markets, and
those mega markets, those mega markets. But unfortunately, we're both from Philly, but you talk to people, and what I mean by that is we love Philly, but if you're a player, you're not from Philadelphia, and the New York Knicks, if everything's equal, you got the New York Knicks and you have the Sixers. You're going to say to yourself, like, man, I can go to New York as opposed to coming to Philly, because let's face it, the people in Philly the fans may be more critical of you. This and that. There's a lot that goes on. We demand a lot. But I also feel like the market, you would want to be in New York more so than you would be in Philadelphia. So those are the three things that they have.
And I think it speaks to, in my opinion, it does speak to the overall health or non-health of the league. The league is growing. It's growing incredibly internationally. But You're going if you ball out, you're going to get your money whether you play in Utah, whether you play in
Yeah,
Milwaukee. You're
it
going to get
changed.
your money.
It
You know,
changed, man.
yeah,
Yeah, it really changed.
the NBA is sort of like that league where it's becoming more of a prima donna league. You look at Major League Baseball. And you look at the NFL. Brothers don't want to go to Green Bay and Wisconsin and be there in the middle of the winter, but it's a job.
Hmm.
But in Philadelphia with what 1.6 million people, you're right in the middle. You've got New York to your north, you've got DC to the south. You've got a decent nightlife, but I think this is somewhat pushing people away from the fact that many of these players just want to be in these major markets. You just can't have that.
Yeah, true. And then also you look at it like let's and before we get to the next segment, I use like Bradley Bill now as
Mm-hmm.
poster child for the current NBA player, where their
Mm-hmm.
mindset is. So Bradley Bill is a guy we all know, an all-star. He was, it's funny, Steph Curry and James Harden won these scoring titles before, Joel Embiid did, right? And Bradley Bill was playing on a average at best Washington Wizards team,
Mm-hmm.
but he was second. Like he was always up there in the mix.
Yeah.
So Bradley Bill became the all-star. Bradley Bill was all NBA. And what does he do? He resigns with the Washington Wizards.
Right.
He gets a crazy contract. He gets injured. And then all of a sudden now it was like time to win that chip
Yeah.
after he got paid.
Yeah.
After he got paid and got these accolades. So then
Right.
they trade
Right.
him to Phoenix, right? So now he's going to try to team up with with Kevin Durant and Devin Booker, so
Mm-hmm.
he can get it. But so
Right.
that's the thing that happens. So right about now, the next superstar player, you look and see what Bradley Bill did, and was like, yo, he got the bag. So let
Yeah.
me get this bag before I decide to do what I need to do in order to become that guy
Right.
to team up with maybe a Joel Embiid or in a Tyrese Maxey type of thing. But for right now, I got to make sure that I'm gonna get paid
Yeah.
first. That's
And,
first and foremost.
and one thing I noticed real quickly, Keith, I noticed is that now the NBA is a league. Their CBA has always favored the elite players more so than any other league. If you're an elite money maker, if you're an elite player in the NBA, it's perfect for you because you can almost live like that and nobody will be critical of you because you can grind it out season after season, putting up your numbers, which is what they all want to do anyway. And like you said, you hit 30 and you start talking about I need a milestone. A milestone would be to place a gem on my finger and get a ring. So and I think that's so it's I mean, shout out to their labor negotiators for achieving that those type of contracts for them. But I think it is detrimental to the product.
Okay. Well, when we get right back, we're going to talk about Joel Embiid. We're going to continue with Joel Embiid, but what we're going to talk about is we're going to talk about him right now. It seems like he's the biggest free agent in regards to next summer's Olympics,
Right, right.
right? Joel Embiid can play for France. He could play for the United States. But here's the funny thing, John, and nobody's talking about. His native country, the Cameroon, has a chance to make the Olympics, right? So they could
Mm-hmm.
possibly make the Olympics. So, the question is, where is Joel going to go? And if Cameroon makes the Olympics, will Joel play for his native country, or
Mm-hmm.
should Joel play for his native country? We'll talk about that more when we get right back from this break. Get ready for the NFL season with incredible offers from FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets, guaranteed. Plus, all customers who bet $5 will get $100 off NFL Sunday ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Sounds like a good deal, right, Mitch?
It's a real good deal.
Real good deal.
NFL season is here. Go out and
Exactly.
play.
Exactly.
Bet on
Now
those birds.
now is the best time to join FanDuel. The app is easy to use, and you can bet on everything from spreads to player props and more. Now, if you bet on them spreads, Mitch, you might be in trouble because they've been winning some close ones, closer than they should have, right?
Yeah. They've been overhyped. They're very good, but they've been overhyped
Yeah, a
in
little bit.
typical Philly fashion.
A little bit. So visit fanduel.com/locked off and kick off the NFL season with an offer you won't want to miss. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL. Now, Mitch, when we talk about Joel, the Olympics, and all that, where do you think that he's going to end up at?
Um, you know, from an intrigue standpoint, and the journalist in me and the journalist in you, I think, would rather see him play in either Cam. I would love to see him play for Cameroon. If I could make a pecking order, uh, I would say number one, I'd like to see him play for Cameroon. I think number two, if he were to play for France, then all of a sudden you got they just that Victor Wembanyama, Rudy Gobert. You have too many big men there, and number three, I'm always going to root for the United States of America, and they desperately. It's clear, that their superstars are aging.
Mm-hmm.
And as we saw from the FIBA championships, they are obviously in need of some size and some physicality on the inside. There's absolutely no doubt about that. You just can't roll the basketball out there anymore, and expect I think with the elite players, you will get an Olympic gold medal, but you can't just roll the ball out there now and expect to win. So I honestly, the journalist in me, the person who loves the continuing multi ethnicity of sports. I'd love to see. I like a good story. I like to see. I mean, I'm not invested in the United States winning the gold medal, and not that I think that Joel Embiid playing for Canada or France secures it for either one of those teams. But the journalist in me says, hey, this is intriguing to see this guy play for an African nation. Look at the players that are in the league currently that are from Africa. You look at Hakeem Olajuwon in the past from being from Nigeria. We never got a chance to see him in the Olympics. So yeah, I'd like to see him play for only because I like storylines, man, and I think that's what the world has become. Yeah, I like seeing him play for Cameroon. I'd be perfectly okay with that, and I think maybe he'll recognize in that situation that my advantage is to play at the rim and in the paint and bring that back to the 76ers if he still is in their plans beyond the 2024 season.
Yeah. I'm with you on that one. The thing about it is I understand that, you want to play in the Olympics. I get that. But I think if the Cameroon makes the Olympics, I think that it will be tough for him to not play for him.
Right.
I mean, I do. Also, I get it. It's kind of sort of, you go to France, you go to the United States, you're going to get a gold medal. I mean, wherever he goes, they're probably going to be favored. Now, again, if the United States of LeBron and they bring back Dream Team 3, what people think is going to happen, yeah, they'll probably get it. But aside from that, Joel Embiid is going to be the guy that basically makes the other team, a favor if the Sixers don't. I mean, if the USA doesn't go all in. But when you think of Cameroon and you think of how these African nations are getting better and better in basketball, right? And you look at Joel and you say Pascal Siakam.
Yep.
You say some of these other guys, like, you're looking at it. You got more Cameroonian players playing in college basketball now.
Yep.
You look at DJ Strawberry, Daryl Strawberry's son, who's, is a Cameroonian American. He has, I guess he has a dual citizenship or whatever. But, you look at it, he's regarded as, like I'm looking at it right now, as American Cameroonian professional basketball player who's playing over in Egypt. Right. So the thing is, but to me, I look at it as if it will probably be more enjoyable to try to get a medal with Pascal Siakam, Joel Embiid, and another player, and then it would be winning a gold medal with a team that's stacked,
And
right?
let me, if I can interject for 1 second, Keith, what people don't fully seem to grasp is the NBA more so than any of our majors now is the international game.
Yeah.
And I truly believe that the people up in New York, up on Fifth Avenue, are saying, "Hey, Lord, please let him play for Cameroon so we can grow our game there."
Mm-hmm.
I think that way. Publicly they won't say that. Publicly they will be saying, "Hey, USA, USA." But the bottom line is, we know that where the USA is here, the almighty dollar is here in the minds of anybody in the capitalist system. And I think that if they can fertilize further Africa and the nations that make up Africa, I think they will be all in for him playing for Canada. They may not say it publicly, but they'll congratulate him on his choice and say, "Go ahead and spread, grow our game."
Yep. Yep. Exactly. I agree 100%. And I think, I would be interested in it. I mean, look at it. You look at players who played for other foreign teams, or teams that you didn't think that were that good, and they turned out to be putting up phenomenal numbers, over in the world championships, right? So you look at that and you say to yourself, why can't Joel do it for the Cameroon?
Right.
So I'm really looking forward to it. I would like to see what he could do.
Mm-hmm.
And don't get me wrong, no matter what he does, it's going to be must see TV. But I
Right.
think there's going to be a lot more people watching to see if he played for Cameroon. And then just think of the national pride. I mean, the thing about it is, when I talk to Furkan Korkmaz, who plays for Turkey, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's Turkish. And we talk about him playing for the national team, and he's like, playing for the NBA is the best players in the world, right?
Right.
That's like,
Right.
personally, that's an individual goal. But when you play for your national team, your country, that's like nothing better, right?
Right.
You know what I mean? Now, again, for the country, for the player, they all want to play in the NBA, but they
Mm-hmm.
also want to represent their country in the Olympics, and also in the also in the World Cup.
Mm-hmm.
So for them, I think that would be the best for Joel, would be best for Cameroon, um, NBA Africa, all that. You know
All
what I
that.
mean? They all would love that. So, I think that's going to be something great. Something great.
It's a win-win situation.
Yeah, it is. And
Win-win.
now, when we get back, we're going to talk about, we're going to continue this segment, talk about more things. But right now, I want to talk to y'all about Jace Medical. Um, the Jace case provides 5 life-saving antibiotics for emergency use. All it takes to get a Jace case is to fill out a simple online form, and in some cases, jump on a quick call with one of our board certified physicians. Don't get caught unprepared. Everyone should be empowered to care for themselves and their loved ones during the unexpected. Jake's case handles everything from online evaluations to licensed pharmacy, medication delivery to ongoing consultant care, right? So, what do you need to do, John? This is what you need to do, or this is the best thing for you to do. Save more than $360 by getting these life saving antibiotics with Jace Medical, plus additional $20 off by using Locked On at checkout on jacemedical.com. That's Jace, JASE, medical.com. I'm telling y'all, do it today, people.
Don't delay.
Definitely
Don't
do
delay.
it today. You know what I mean? So, Mitch, what do you want to talk about in this last segment, bro?
I think we should talk. We should visit the segment. Let the segment focus on the new rule, which
Mm-hmm.
is against players. Which is designed to cut down on load management, because, as you know, people are tired of load management. People understand. The savvy fan understands that it preserves players and it can be used strategically. But people show up. I hear it all the time. They show up to Wells Fargo Center, and it's like, man, I bought these tickets well in advance, and I'm not going to see a superstar, whether it's a 76ers player or somebody from a different team. So I'm glad to see the NBA addressing that.
Yeah, me too. And the thing about that is, the thing is, you look at it and you talk not so much season ticket holders, because they go like they're
Right,
all in, like they like we're gonna pay for 41 of these games, right?
right.
We're gonna pay for 41 of these games. But you look at people who get these partial plans,
Hmm.
and I know a lot of people will get them. The reason why they get it, like they'll get like 12 games of that or whatever, how many it is, but
Hmm.
they're doing it because of the matchups. They say, "Oh wow, I get to see
Right,
the Golden State Warriors. I get to see the Milwaukee Bucks. I
right.
get to do this," and so you're spending money for that, and then all of a sudden you get to the game, and it's kind of like, well,
Yeah.
Greek Freak's not playing. Oh, Steph Curry's
Right,
not playing. This and that. So they don't buy those tickets anymore.
right.
So when things like that happen, it gets to a point where you look at it as a league, you're like, yo, you got to correct this. And not
Yeah.
only that, you don't even know that these guys aren't going to play
Right,
until right before the game starts or
right.
something like that. So I understand that. The only thing I don't like about this, Mitch, is for the most part, whereas the one thing where it says like TV games, like
Hmm.
both of your stars, your all stars have to play in the TV
Hmm.
games, and they have to play in the in season tournament game, right? Which are also TV. To me, it's like, well, I get it. ABC,
Right.
ESPN, NBA TV, all these people are paying all this money for
Yeah.
these guys to go there. But what about the game on a Tuesday that is not on TV? Is I get it. Like,
Hmm.
we shouldn't decipher. It should be all games. Now I get it. You're saying that one of the, like, you got two all stars, one of them has to play, at least
Right.
one of them, right? I understand that.
Hmm.
But I feel like when you start saying the TV, it's kind of like the consumer is like, well, I understand, you're trying to protect the TV people, but what about us? We feel the same way. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? I feel like it shouldn't be,
Yeah. But
I don't know. It shouldn't give them special treatment.
yeah, but you know what that is, Keith. That's the we've heard the voice from the Ivory Tower, from the Billionaire Boys Club. That they have partners to satisfy, and they have meetings about this that we'll never hear reported on. Where it's like, hey, you're paying these guys, and I understand. As a fan, the load management is strategically used. There are situations where it's like, okay, well, I need him on this road game. We're in a battle for the final seed in the playoffs. I can play him here in the game between the person we're fighting for to avoid the play-in tournament, um, and bring him back home and rest him, or vice versa. So they're always going to place the members of the Billionaire Boys Club will have their say, and right below that will be, in the pecking order. I hate to tell fans, but you're not primary; you are secondary in this equation, and it's unfortunately that's the way it is, because, like, I used to always tell people that, when your team gets bumped from the playoffs, nobody hurts more than the fan who scraped their money together to go see that game. The people who sit on the front row, uh, the owners, people in the owners box, or sitting courtside, they don't hurt as much, because they, at the end of the day, they can look at their when their receipt comes out of the ATM machine, it's got about 12 digits on it. So and money does tend to cure all that. So and they're going to do ultimately that. It's just like the NFL protects the shield, the NBA is going to protect its shield as well, and say, hey, listen, man, you're making $50 million a year. It's not going to hurt you. The 20. You can tell them 20 years ago players were fly. 30 years ago players were in coach.
Hmm.
You're on a bus to the airport. You're shrimp and lobster in your extended chair. You're living the life. So at some point they're always going to protect the product and the image of the product. And part of it becomes this image that, in the NBA, you don't have to go all out night in and night out. So, I'm for it. I'm for it. I understand the strategy behind load management, but I think it's bad for the game. I think it's bad for the game.
Yeah, the load management. Yeah, it was bad for the game. I mean, it became. I mean, I get it. You want to preserve players. I get all that. But the bad part was where, I mean, it was just bad for the customer, the paying
Mm-hmm.
customer, because a lot of these people, they pay a lot of money to go see these guys,
Right.
and you just don't do it. And then
Yes, that's it.
a lot of times you figure like, but why this game? like
Right.
there's certain times where, there were certain times where, there was you look at the schedule
Mm-hmm.
and marquee matchup is coming up,
People
but then
always
there's
pick
games in
individual
between.
tickets. They
Huh?
always pick games like that. They always pick
Yeah,
games
the
like that.
game. Yeah, like okay, where the blowout game come, like, oh, my man's playing, but then the marquee matchup is kind of like, hold up, this
Right.
scheduled off day. You like, huh? Like
Like
really? Like,
suppose
nah?
suppose you're a Kawhi Leonard fan, and I happen to be a Kawhi Leonard fan, and it's like, you know, I want to see him play, but why would I spend that money when I have, how often has Kawhi's name popped up on the, lower back soreness,
Yeah.
or whatever, knee pain. No, I want to see this guy play, and
Mm-hmm.
that takes it away from the fan. I guess it's a win for fans to a degree.
Yeah, it
You
is.
know,
It is. But look, Mitch, I want to thank you for joining me
thanks
today.
for having me.
Yeah, I want to thank y'all for listening. You guys can get this podcast wherever you get your podcast at. It's free and available. You can also get this podcast on YouTube, Locked On 76ers YouTube channel. When you go to the podcast, make sure that you on YouTube click on the Liberty Bell. You become a new subscriber and you get notifications when the next podcast, is downloaded and up and available. But again, have a great weekend. Have a great day. And Mitch, again, brother, again, thank you for joining. You always bring a lot of knowledge. I love having you on the show. And I
Always
want
a pleasure.
to, all right. And I want to thank y'all for listening. Peace.